I made 2 drawers for my bathroom vanity, and this is what the vanity looked like before I made those drawers. And I used dovetails to put the drawers together, and I used this template here, which is sold by MLCS. It's an aluminum template, and I like it because you mount your workpiece in the vise, and then you mount the template on your workpiece, and then you use your router to route out the pins and the tails. And that's what I'm doing here. This clip is a little dark because it's in the shadow, but I think you can see what's going on. The router bit is being pushed into the wood. And as I said, you form both your pins and your tails in the same way, doing just what you're seeing here. It throws out a lot of chips, and so I like to do it outside so that all that mess goes on the grass instead of in my shop. And here I'm doing a test fit to make sure it fits right. I think you can see it's snug. It's not too tight, not too loose. The joint doesn't allow the piece to fall out. Now I've taken all the pieces in to the shop, and I'm test fitting, putting all 4 pieces together for each drawer. And again, you can see it's nice and snug. I'm gluing it up here. Gluing up dovetails is pretty easy. You don't need too many clamps. So I was able to do both drawers at the same time. Now the glue's dry. You can see that I left both the pins and the tails a little bit proud. I cut most of that excess off on the table saw, but now I'm just smoothing it out with the sander. I used a roundover bit in the router to take the edge off both the outside perimeter and the inside perimeter of the top of both drawers. I used these undermount slides in the vanity, and because I used this type of slide, I didn't need to cut a slot in the sides of the drawers to hold the bottom. The reason you don't need a slot is because the slides support the full weight of the contents of the drawer, and so the bottom can't fall out. So for the bottom I used 1/4-inch plywood. I glued it on here, and then I put a number of screws in. Here I'm using a flush trim bit to eliminate the overhang of the bottom on the side. I decided to put vinyl tile in the bottom of each drawer. I did this. It's the same tile that I put in the bottom of the vanity. It's a self-stick vinyl tile, and it's really easy to cut the tile for the drawers because every cut is rectangular, since the drawer is rectangular. 2 different pieces go in the drawer just because of the size of the drawer I made. Here I'm test fitting the first piece, and now I've got both pieces in. You can see the seam there near the left side, but it's not too noticeable. I used silicone caulk around the edge of the entire edge of the inside of each drawer. I also put caulk on that seam so that there's really no gap left when I got done. You put the caulk on the same way you caulk anything else, where you use a gun and then smooth it out with your finger. And then, so here's the final product. So the drawers are done. At this point I have put them on the slides and screwed them on. I used 4 screws, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. I'm just testing them here to make sure they fit well and that they slide easily, which they do. I made a couple of fronts out of red oak, and these fronts just are screwed directly onto the face of the finished drawer like that. So at this point I screwed the fronts on, and again I'm just testing to make sure that they close correctly. And at this stage the drawers are done and installed.